So hello and welcome to the new video. This time I told myself, okay, let's give a try the new Hydra build and how it works and so on. A quick disclaimer, my build is based around Lurkin's Hydra build from Mobalytic. You're gonna see that in the video description. I made a couple of changes. By the end of the video I will show you my gear and so on what I did. And in this video I'm gonna be comparing the Hydra sword to the Spiritborn, the Banazan Pants, or however you pronounce that properly, because that's the only two builds that I was playing, and the Spiritborn was supposed to be a S tier according to the max roll, and the Hydra was supposed to be a A tier. So if I compare Hydra Sword and the Spiritborn leveling process, well, I mean leveling process between level 1 to the Torment 1, they are pretty much like an equal leveling experience. I would say the Hydra Sword is a little bit better because you don't have to manage as much of resources at the beginning, because the Hydra doesn't cost nothing, so you can just spam it, and that's why I would say it's a little bit better in the leveling process because of that. The build starts shining very quickly once you get yourself that amulet for the Hydra. Whatever roll you get, as long as you have it right away on the Torment 1, the build just like destroys everything. And once you get more and more power, more items, more aspects and everything, you start destroying even more and more, and the build becomes like very casual friendly. It's like very relaxing compared to the Spiritborn, when you have to do like, set specific rotation to get your your damage, the vortex and so on. In here you can see I'm just walking around, spam hydras, teleports and so on, everything's nice. It is a very chill and easy playstyle. Would I recommend it? Yes, absolutely. This is a much easier playstyle, the Sorcerer Hydra compared to Spiritborn, because there's not much of rotations to do. You just go around and spam hydras, and they destroy all of the content. Yes, and I do acknowledge that probably looking on the leaderboards, the Sorcerer Hydras are a bit behind the Spiritborns, like about 5 to 6 tiers of like pit pushing. After I kill this pit boss, I'm gonna show you like just one kill of Lord Zir, so you can have like a comparison how quickly the Hydra sword kills like a normal T4 boss, so you can compare this to like to whatever you want. My seasonal powers are pretty much the same thing that you're gonna see in most of the Sorcerer Hydras. I will just show you. There's not much of a difference. The main thing is I'm using this on the catalyst that gets my resources much quicker, and I have this on the right click with Hydra, so whenever I cast a Hydra, this simply activates automatically, and I get like a nice boost of resources, as you can see. And, that's how I manage my resources no matter what. Showing you the Paragons is pointless, since I literally copied Lurkin's all of the Paragons, doing some minor adjustments such as balancing the resistance and armor because of my items. So simply just go to Mobalytic and click on the Paragon boards, and you're gonna have an overview. So let me just quickly overview the build. This is the passive tree. It's gonna look like a pretty standard Sorc Hydra, so there's not much of a change over here. There's one thing that I didn't like. Most of the Sorcs goes into like some kind of ball lightning or ice shards. I didn't want to do that, so I don't have that, and therefore I have about 3 extra points. I can go into the Inferno if I wanted to, but then it means I'm gonna have to quit from the teleport on my bar, and I have to rely just on the teleport enchantment. So that's something that you can do, but those 3 points are very loose, so you can do whatever you want. Let me just show you again the full tree. Just remember that that Hydra, that the new amulet for Hydra makes Hydra a core skill. That's why you have a couple points over here. So let me just overview the gear. Firstly, I have a shaker, and I was very lucky at getting shaker with the cooldown reduction. But before having the shaker, I was using a very defensive helmet because I knew I'm gonna have shaker no matter what. Because there is a small trick, let's call it like that, to get yourself a shaker. I will simply tell you this by the end of the gear section. And I'm using Nagu Ohm, the runes. So I'm giving the barbarian shout every single time. Since you're always maintaining, because I'm using the summon wolves and you have like a bunch of conjurations and so on, so you pretty much permanently upkeep that shout and you just get free damage over here. Chest, pretty much defensive one, and I'm still working on the bigger jewels for the int, so not much to say. Gloves, offensive one. Generally speaking, I would like to have plus to core skills as a GA, and the rest of them would be like some kind of int, life, crit, vuln, whatever I could get. That's really depends. Pants, the only stats that you're looking for is the resource generation, damage reduction. So those two things. And I have over here Igni and Tech, because for the wolves, because pretty much I'm just lazy, let's call it that, because I could actually get better runes over here and tweak around with conjurations and so on. I didn't want to do that. It's much easier for me to have the wolves and they just stack up the conjuration mastery very easy and don't have to think about it. This is primarily the laziness. That's it. If you want more power, you tweak around those runes. Boots, again, nothing too special. The only stats that you're looking for is the implicit +3 maximum evade charges, because I'm using the teleport. If you're not using the teleport, this is not much of an importance. And then I have movement speed, because I just, I want to move around a little bit faster. My wand, I have the one Hydra skill, Hydra heads, that's very important, that you have the new aspect for the Hydra, and I have the resources restore. This works relatively very well, but I still like to have the seasonal power with the resources, just in case I don't proc it, for the safety. And it doesn't have to be the wand. You can use a sword, because the sword has like crit damage in the implicit, but I think it's a little bit slower. But whatever you can get. The amulet is like pretty much a mandatory thing, because that's what makes the build works properly. And you're just looking for the unique stat, and +6 to primordial binding. I could redo it. I mean, the masterworking, I think you're getting +7 or something like that. But I'm like, no, you know what? I'm not gonna be doing that. I'm happy with it as it is. And then you're using the new seasonal gems. I don't remember exactly how they're called. Starless, again, I was quite lucky to get it from one of the boss drops. Just helps out with everything. And then you're using the new jewel. Talarasha, the most important is like the unique power and the cooldown reduction. I would have to redo my Talarasha because the cooldowns are kind of bad, and I'm missing about 7 or 8 to cap my cooldown reduction. So that's the slot I would do it. The focus, again, Hydra damage. I have cooldown just to try to hit that cap, and have the crit damage, legendary power. So there's, the build is quite easy to do, quite flexible. I would say the only mandatory thing that you have to do is actually have this amulet. You start this build with this amulet. So how I got my Shaker is by running the Tributes of Harmony that gives you runes. It's not necessarily you're gonna get the runes that you want, but you get a bunch of random runes that you can, turn them like the rares in the legendary. Sometimes you get like a legendaries and so on. So what I did, I farmed. Where's my runes? I farmed a lot of legendary runes, and instead of selling them on like a current price of the legendary runes, like 500 or whatever mils, I was lowering them by 100 mils or 150 mils, and I was just selling them like, you know, crazy. And then I just simply bought the runes from someone else for like a normal price, you know, whatever I needed. Like I needed about 3 eons on something like that, and I just bought them, and then, you know, you get the shaker. So that's how I did it. At this point of the video, I will say thank you for watching, and I will see you later. Bye bye.